20 inches right there. You can see the vacuum on top. But you can see all that is all that air coming out of those pen blanks. And it'll sit there and do that for probably 20 minutes, and then it'll calm down, and you'll get just little streams coming out. And what that is the air coming through those veins, those the threads of the wood. You know, what's the term I'm looking for?
Fibers.
Yeah, the fibers. Sorry, the fibers of the wood. It's traveling down those fibers to get to that end grain so it can come out. All of that action's coming out of the end of the pen blanks. You can see that right there, right? Those little lines coming out. Those are fibers that are allowing that air to escape down those veins in the blank.
Can those blanks be green?
No, they have to be dry. That's the other thing I didn't. Good question. They have to be dry. If there's water in it, that water will boil when you put it in here, and it won't stabilize correctly. All right. So what do they recommend? They actually recommend taking the blanks, putting them in your toaster oven at 200 degrees for, you know, you can leave them in there for 24 hours. Actually, I wouldn't go 200 degrees, probably about 150 to 175. Because you can do that too, but you have to be careful. If the wood's hot when you put it in here, what's going to happen? You're going to catalyze that resin as it enters, right? So your blanks have to be dry, but not hot, okay? So you can see, I mean, that was what, maybe a minute or two. It's calmed down quite a bit, but you can still see, what's that?
Almost 30.
Yeah, 29 and a half.
Oh, I was
before. You know, but you can still see little bubbles coming out, you know, and I'll take and move it around a little bit. It opens up new areas in between the pen blanks. These will probably stay under vacuum. I can leave it under vacuum for 3 hours, you know. And your vacuum pump, leave running the whole time. They're designed to do that. Because what you don't want to do is lock the vacuum in here because maybe you got a little bit of a leak and the vacuum starts going away. You know, but that's it. I'll let those sit as long as they need. And then, like I said, you remove the vacuum afterwards, let them sit under that liquid for twice the time that it was under vacuum. All right? So,
Is there any gauge for how much of that cactus juice you put in, the number of blanks?
you just have to cover it, and you have to keep in mind, during this portion of it, your level won't go down. But once you remove the vacuum and all of it starts flowing in, you're going to lose you're going to lose at least an inch. With this small container I had down here and about 6 pen blanks, I'd have to make sure I was an inch to an inch and a half above them, or it would drop below. The good thing is if you keep an eye on it, you can always add more resin, right? Just raise the level of that resin back up over the blank. You don't want the blank to come uncovered because then you're going to suck air back in. You'd rather have resin than air.
Was that virgin cactus juice you just put in there?
No, I probably had that in other blanks.
So it'll, depending on what you're treating, it might change color?
It's still going to stay clear because as long as I don't...
It looks like it's got darker, looks like it's got greener since you put it in there.
I mean, I don't think so. It doesn't change color just from being under vacuum or with the wood that I've noticed. But about half of what I've done has been, you know, those blanks. So I don't mix the colors, and so I mean I've probably done about, I'd say 20 blanks with about a half a gallon of resin. Hardens through a polymerization process through baking. Right? That's why I've got the toaster oven here. Okay? So you have to cook it. If you don't cook it all the way through, if you don't reach 200 degrees to the center of that blank, the blank won't be any good. Because once you start the polymerization process, you can't go back and bake it again later if you find that it's not baked all the way through. All right, so he tells you 200 degrees for 2 hours, but leave it in there for 200 degrees for longer than that, just to make sure. That's for a standard pen blank. If you're working with something bigger, you got to leave it in there for a longer time. So longer periods don't hurt. As a matter of fact, there's a story he tells online that he's got a back room in his shop that he does all his stabilizing in. He went back there one day, put some blanks in his toaster oven, and 3 or 4 days later went back there and realized that he forgot about them. And you know, they turned just fine. You can't bake them too long, I guess is the what I'm trying to say. So, okay. But when you pull it out, take and wrap it, put it in your oven, and just let it do its thing. So these go in the oven just like this. And I originally thought the foil was just to maintain a more even temperature. You know how when you wrap things in the oven, put it in foil, but really it's to prevent the liquid that comes out from, you know, going all over inside your oven. So you could do these in your house, but I don't really recommend it. There is a little bit of smell, not bad, but just a little toaster oven like this. These things are notorious for being wrong on temperature. So get yourself a thermometer, make sure that your setting is actually right about 200 degrees. Normally, the settings on these are, they read low. So if you set it at 200, you're probably at 220, 225, you know. They're notorious for being high.
You ain't gotta go out to the Walmart and buy one. Go to the second-hand store, you find it for about
Yeah.
$2.
And don't use your wife's because she'll get mad at you.
Yeah. You
How
look
do you
at
know that?
Because I have one for my polymer clay and he can get his own for his woodworking.
you look at the inside of this one.
No, I bought that one for.
You don't want. This is what you're going to end up with after you use it for a while. You know.
No
it's
bagels.
Good usable for the shop, but you know, because that's blue stabilizing resin, and on here I've got Alumilite and, you know, all kinds of. And they do give off a little bit of smoke when you have that type of stuff in it. That's why this stays out in the shop. All right, let's see.